relationships. What a weird concept. And I don't just mean romantic relationships. I mean friendships. I mean business relationships. Family. These are all things that humans do that I don't really know other animals doing. How weird is it that you can just meet somebody randomly and within the first few minutes you would say, hey, I really like that person. Let's go eat together. Let's get a drink together. Let's do stuff together. It's a really strange concept. And it's even weirder when it comes to romantic relationships. When artificial intelligence emerges, they're gonna look at humans and say, what happened? But anyways, today I wanna talk about 3 different stories on relationships that I've built throughout my life. One is very recent, one was a lifetime ago, and then another one was just a few months ago. 2 of them are romantic relationships, and one is a business relationship. And being alive on this earth now for 30 some odd years, I'm still finding every day there's new kinds of relationships that happen. But the first one I want to talk about is my girlfriend going to jail. When I lived in Chicago, there's a western suburb that's right on the outskirts of the city named Cicero. It's a blue-collar neighborhood and can get kind of rough sometimes. And I had a buddy named Jose from Puerto Rico. And Jose's younger sister just got out of jail. But when this girl got out of jail, her name was Anna. Jose told me he wanted to set me up with Anna and said, I really hope that there's maybe somebody that my sister can care about. You have a bright future, Bernard. And I think that she would like you. And if we set you guys up, she ends up caring about you, maybe she'll stop doing all this shit. So I agreed and I took his sister out for dinner. This is kind of strange, right? What older brother sets his younger sister up with somebody he knows. But we went to dinner. She liked me, I liked her, and we ended up spending a lot of time together. She was my girlfriend. She's not the girl in the thumbnail, by the way. But I want to give you kind of an example of the neighborhood that I was in. There was one night I was out with Anna and also Jose and his girlfriend Consuelo. Consuelo's ex-boyfriend happened to walk by us. And they got into a little heated argument, Jose and this ex-boyfriend. And it finally culminated with the ex-boyfriend saying to my friend Jose, next time you make out with your girlfriend, just remember, my dick has been in her mouth. And what ensued afterwards was there was a swift punch to the face, somebody falling to the ground, the ex-boyfriend, and then Jose pulling a knife out of his pocket, putting it up to this guy's throat and saying, next time you make out with your girlfriend, you tell her, my dick's been in your mouth. So that kind of gives you an idea of the people I was hanging out with in my first year of college. And it was interesting because the last time I ever saw Anna, this was maybe 7 or 8 months into dating, she had a black eye and a cut on her face. And she told me that the previous day that she had seen this girl that she did not like since she was a child. They got into an argument on the bus. The bus driver kicked them off. Outside where they got kicked off from the bus, they got into a fist fight. To me, this was kind of a red flag because I thought this is really strange and I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I really want to be involved in this. And what was really interesting was that the next day after was that her brother called me and said that Anna was in jail and being held. He told me what had happened. So what went on was that Anna, I guess, got so pissed off thinking about this girl. She went to this girl's house, threw a baseball bat in her window, dragged her out onto her own front lawn and started beating this girl with that baseball bat. And since it's kind of a rough neighborhood, the cops drove by. They, I guess, tried to catch her and she ran and they caught her and then she went to jail. I remember seeing this on the news, by the way. Now, it wasn't until much later that I found out the girl that Anna beat up fucked Anna's ex-boyfriend. And this is what she was pissed off about. And apparently, several months later, even after dating me, she was still pissed off about that. And the crazy thing was, after Anna got out of jail a few years later, I was working at a hospital by then. And I remember looking through a patient list one morning and seeing Anna's name admitted into the labor and delivery department. And what I had found out much later was that after Anna got out of jail, she got back together with that ex-boyfriend who cheated on her with that girl and had a baby with him. By then, I was so far removed from this situation that to me it didn't really matter. I just thought that was a really, really strange thing that had happened. And this was well over a decade ago, so very strange thing. But that was the story of how my girlfriend went to jail at one time. So now the next story has to do with a business relationship. And I don't really like mixing work with YouTube. But recently there was a group of new people that had just started in the office. And if you know anything about my business, we always work with a lot of third parties, so we hire other companies to do a lot of things for us. There's a company recently that's really been trying to establish a business relationship with my group, and they were going to hold an event. It was a dinner in New York City on the 75th floor in a building. It was a really fancy dinner, and there was going to be speakers, and we were going to listen to them. And I thought with some of the new people that I was working with that I'd invite him over to this dinner. Now, when I invited him to this dinner, he first asked me if he could invite other people, and I told him probably hold off on it. I was interested in the speakers, but I was also kind of not interested in this company. We've been having some issues trying to get people to do the things that we're looking for, and these people clearly weren't, but they still wanted us to come to this dinner. So I thought if it was just gonna be 2 or 3 of us, it'd be fine. So despite me telling the new guy to not invite other people, he went behind my back and went to the person from the third-party company who invited me to the event and asked him, hey, can I bring all the other new people who just showed up to this company? Now, being in the third party, of course, they want as many people as they can get to this event. So he says yes, and now there is a list of 30 people, brand new, who are gonna go to this swanky dinner. And that really gives off a bad impression because we're really not that interested as a company to this third party. But lo and behold, this guy circumvented my invitation, went back to the original inviter, and asked if he could bring all the people. To me, this is incredibly rude. This is like you were invited by your friend to his friend's party, and then you decide to bring 30 of your friends along. Nobody does that. And especially with business, we have 6-7-digit figures on the line. This new guy on his third day decides to do this bullshit? Way to kill somebody's trust. And that brings across one of these points, that you can destroy a relationship with somebody literally in a single sentence. And that a lot of times these relationships can start sliding down very far very quickly. So with that being said, I want to go back to March of this year, and I said in my Drunk Honey Pop video, which I totally think you should watch, I talk about me breaking up with my girlfriend from this year. Now, this was a girl I knew starting back in 2007. I was drinking at a bar with some of my friends, and she, for some reason, was able to convince each one of us that somebody else knew her. And she was actually new to the United States, directly from Mexico. And she comes from a political family of privilege. There was really no reason for her to come here alone in order to dance in theater, but that was what she wanted to do. It was against her parents' wishes. Now, we had kept in touch after 2007, and in 2009, she made it over to Broadway in New York, really living the dream, hitting it big. And then in 2015, I ended up getting a job in New York City, so I moved from Chicago over to New York. Now that we've been talking this entire time, we decided that we could go and, maybe start a relationship together, and we did. And she was actually one of the people who inspired me to do this YouTube channel. Now, by the time January 2016 rolled around, I started to take streaming a little bit more seriously. I wanted to get more into it, and she couldn't show up on monetized video because of her contract with her dance troupe. I don't really know how that worked, but she couldn't show up in my videos and she couldn't be on my stream. So there was a girl I knew from the office, from my work, who was also from Chicago, and I thought to ask her to show up on stream with me. This was back in January. Now, when I told my girlfriend that I would be having another girl from my work show up on stream with me, everything changed all of a sudden. And the reasoning from my girlfriend was that my audience, you amigos, would expect this girl from the office to be my girlfriend. And it turns out she was actually correct. But ever since that moment, and I canceled the stream, and I told my girlfriend, okay, fine, this girl won't show up on the stream with me. But after that, nothing was the same. And in fact, my girlfriend would get uncharacteristically close to other guys right in front of me. And I didn't know at the time whether or not it was to spite me, but every time I tried to call her out on it, she'd be really defensive about it and then go and say that I'm trying to sabotage her dancing career because all of these people she was getting close with were her coworkers, people that she danced with. And to me, that kind of seemed a little bullshit because you don't go and rub your ass on some guy's crotch in front of your boyfriend. And I would call her out on it. I'd get really upset about it. And I knew if the tables were turned, she would probably slap me. She'd probably punch me, maybe kill me. I don't know. But it finally culminated at the very beginning of March where I was with her, and after lunch, she saw this guy that she knew, and I guess she danced with him, and she made out with him right in front of me, and then turned to me and said, Bernard, I think the train going home for you is coming soon. You better catch it. And at that moment, I wanted to punch her in the face. I wanted to take that guy. I could have stabbed him with my car keys in the throat. There's a lot of things I could have done to that skinny little bitch. But then when I saw what she had done and I kind of realized what was going on, I figured it was probably best to not do that. And trust me, I really wanted to flip over the train when I got on there, but I walked away from it and I was furious. But a few days later, I invited that girl onto my stream, and you all might know her as Yas. And it was funny because we streamed and it looked like we had a really good time together, although there was a few suspect parts in there.
I have a higher degree than you.
And funny thing about that was that Yas ended up ceasing communication with me completely after that stream. I don't really know why. I had been talking with this girl for quite a few months, and I never told her I had a girlfriend because what I find in this 30 to 40 age bracket is that once that happens, people literally just cut off contact with you. It's very strange, and I'm sure not everybody does it, but everyone I've come in contact has. And it's weird because I see her in the office sometimes still too. And there was no way that Yas would have known about my girlfriend. It was two completely separate worlds. There's absolutely no way she would have known. But it doesn't really matter because I don't talk to her anymore. And it's funny because my ex-girlfriend now was right. She said that you amigos would expect her to be my girlfriend. And yet, even still today, I still get comments about Yas. And unfortunately, you guys will never see Yas again on a stream. It was weird because I don't really understand how two relationships were torched all of a sudden just like that. But that's life. And that's a quick story time with Chubbs talking about relationships today. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. I really hope you did. Or leave me a comment. Tell me some crazy relationships that maybe you've had in your life. I know relationships as a teenager and as a 20-year-old are very much different than when you're 30 and beyond. I can't really speak to beyond because I'm not quite there yet, but I tell you, this 30s bracket is really, really fucking weird. And subscribe if you'd like to see more. I haven't done Storytime with Chubbs for quite a while. I'd like to do it more often. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today and joining me for a nice story, and I will see you in the next one. Adios, amigos.